Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know what? Over the last couple of weeks, this has been really pissing me off. It's so obvious what the Democrats and their allies in the media are doing. They're attempting to distract from the real story. I'm sick and tired of it. They're obviously attempting to twist reality. Here they are pushing sob story narratives, creating this alternative reality surrounding this Kilmar Abrego Garcia guy, or the latest sob story spin about Donald Trump supposedly deporting a 2-year-old American citizen, which Democrats continue to push.
The president deported a 4-year-old American citizen with cancer. Took him away from his American citizen father and his American cancer treatment.
But it's all a complete lie, and it's meant to distract from what's really going on, what Trump is actually doing. They want you to think that Donald Trump is seizing power like a lunatic, like a fascist, and abusing it and using it incorrectly. They want you to see him as the bad guy. But the reality is, Biden let the country rot from the inside out, letting violent gangs flood American streets, and despite all the warning signs, despite all the literal tips as you'll see in the first story in this video, they refuse to act, refuse to do anything. And now Donald Trump's back in charge, and he's fixing the problem, taking care of the criminal element that's infiltrated the nation, and somehow he's the bad guy. Hell frickin' no. I want to continue to highlight the stories that the media is so clearly purposely ignoring. These are the stories that define Donald Trump's current track record on the issue of immigration, not the fake news garbage that they're feeding you. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I first want to start off with this viral Pam Bondi clip. Just take a look at this.
America is safer tonight thanks to Donald Trump. During the Biden administration, they received 170 911 calls to that club alone. That club we were just watching, 170 calls. Wouldn't you think that would have been a red flag? Nothing happened. Guns, shootings, ag batteries, nothing happened. So under Donald Trump, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, ATF, ICE, everyone went in together. DEA led this investigation, went in, got 115 illegal immigrants, aliens in our country, arrested them, 2 with warrants, 12 guns seized. So what would happen in this club is you would go in, security would give you a menu of drugs. You could go in a bathroom stall, get that. There was prostitution, all these things going on. And we just now identified a member of Sinaloa cartel was also in there.
Yeah, that is a way bigger story that oddly enough is getting no oxygen from the mainstream media. Joe Biden's DHS ignored 170 tips, 170 tips about an illegal underground nightclub in Colorado Springs that had ties to MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. You had a cartel, gang-infested drug den hiding in plain sight, and they did nothing. Then Donald Trump's administration caught wind of what was happening, and they ignored tips from Joe Biden's DHS, and they raided the place and found over 100 illegal aliens operating inside. They found weapons, drugs. This is how far the rot has spread under Joe Biden. And again, Donald Trump's supposedly the bad guy, but Donald Trump is making streets safer. And we've got this next story, again, showing the complete inaction of the previous administration. We've got a Venezuelan migrant who was arrested 16 times in 2 years, and every single time, like I always say, the left-wing revolving door of the justice system, they let him back onto the streets to reoffend constantly. Assaults, drug charges, theft, booked 1 week, back on the streets the next. Now Donald Trump comes in, and boom, they take decisive action, grab the guy, and he is now in ICE custody. Hopefully I'm painting a very clear contrast here. Donald Trump isn't waiting for another tragedy, he is acting, and it doesn't end there. Speaking of scumbags being picked up off the streets, we've got ICE now arresting an illegal migrant who's been wanted for the last 13 years after allegedly taking a 13-year-old girl's life in Texas. Well, the previous administration seemingly wasn't so interested in tracking this guy down. Now a couple months into the Trump administration, and boom, they got the guy off the street.
We spoke to this father who is a veteran and single dad. He has spent more than a decade fighting for justice for his 13-year-old daughter who was killed by an illegal migrant back in 2014. So Chris Odette, he sat exclusively with Fox. He says he dropped off his 13-year-old daughter, Krisha, at a sleepover. That was the last time he would see her. Rockwell police say Krisha was crossing the street, not a crosswalk, when she was struck and killed. The driver, Ramiro Guevara, an illegal migrant from Mexico. According to ICE, Border Patrol encountered him twice before Krisha's death. He was also wanted at the time for driving without a license and speeding. Just 15 months earlier, Odette lost lost his wife to breast cancer. He says he made a promise to his wife to always protect their daughter.
I lost my entire family in the span of 15 months to a disease that couldn't be prevented, and then to a crime that was 100% preventable.
In 2014, a grand jury decided there was not enough evidence to support criminal charges. He was released into the community, allowing him to just roam free. In 2017, an immigration judge ordered him removable, but he was not caught until this year. ICE arrested him just weeks ago on March 26th.
The Trump administration is getting the frickin' job done. And look, like I said in my video 2-3 weeks ago, a lot of people on the right have been disillusioned with the current deportation numbers, but it's exactly like I've said previously. The federal government has finite resources, and they've made it clear that they are going after the worst criminal offenders first. And the idea that they could just snap their fingers and grab all these guys off the streets while also engaging in a mass deportation effort at the same time, well, it's just not feasible. Tracking down these criminals, going case by case, finding these individuals who are hiding under rocks like frickin' cockroaches is difficult law enforcement work. I'd say you shouldn't be disillusioned because they're getting the job done. They're doing that hard work. They're undoing the damage of the previous administration. And they're getting these violent criminals one after another into ICE custody and out of the country. And it's a massive endeavor, a massive project that requires federal and local law enforcement cooperation. And slowly but surely they're hitting a stride and the results are coming in. And right now in Florida, they're spearheading this joint effort.
Officials at this press conference just this morning, Nicole, they called this the largest joint immigration effort in Florida history. ICE dubbing it a first-of-its-kind partnership, they said, as you mentioned, between federal, state, and local officials. ICE actually just releasing this video about an hour ago of some of the arrests they made. Florida officers assisting federal immigration agents in arresting more than 1,100 people in a roughly week-long period. DHS told us that at least one of the people taken into custody is a documented member of MS-13. Another is a Russian national with an Interpol red notice. The White House and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem called this operation in Florida a warning, telling undocumented immigrants, "We're coming for you." In this morning's press conference, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that massive roundups like this operation that happened just last week are just the beginning.
This has been the first of its kind throughout the United States. This is the largest immigration enforcement operation that we've seen in quite some time throughout the entire country. These are people that should have never been in our country. Some of these people had been previously deported. Some of these people had been alerted in the Biden administration, but this is something they didn't want to have to do with it. So our folks have worked hand in hand with DHS to really make a difference for the people of Florida and for the people of the United States of America.
And Governor DeSantis said that this has really been night and day when it comes to states' efforts in immigration enforcement.
1,100 illegal alien criminals arrested in just 1 week. And again, these aren't just regular guys standing outside a Home Depot. These are gang members. These are criminals. One of them, a Russian national with an Interpol red notice. These are the stories that we should be talking about. This is the stuff that should be playing on the TV screens for everybody to see. Not this nonsense about Kilmar Abrego. Donald Trump is doing the work that previous administrations refused to do, and he is cleaning the streets and making the country a safer space. Not to mention, he basically solved the border crisis with the snap of his finger, something Democrats told you was impossible to do.
Crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border stayed at historically low levels last month. This is according to preliminary data reviewed by CBS News. In April, Border Patrol made 8,400 migrant apprehensions, which is actually up slightly from March. But this is why the numbers are significant. Border Patrol public data only goes back as far as the year 2000. But if you look at historical agency figures, the last time the U.S. averaged fewer than 9,000 monthly apprehensions was in the late 1960s.
In the month of April, Border Patrol made 8,400 migrant apprehensions. The last time we saw fewer than 9,000 monthly apprehensions was in the late 1960s. In other words, border crossings are at a 60-year low. But of course, you won't hear that on CNN now, will ya? They're focused on the little stories that they could twist and manipulate to craft their narratives. But I, for one, would much rather put the spotlight on everything we just covered. Alright, well that's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.